Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. I wanted to do a quick video about how to read and understand your electricity bill that comes from CFE here in Mexico. CFE stands for the Comisión Federal de Electricidad. You can see that there on your screen. It's the federal entity that runs the electricity here. Electricity is government owned. And that is their logo there if you're not familiar with the green bills that will come to your house. As a way just to quickly introduce myself, I'm Amber Pearce. It's great to meet you. If I haven't met you yet, at least we can meet online. This is me. I am the owner and broker of Mayan Riviera Properties. Mayan Riviera Properties is a full-service real estate office here in Puerto Morelos, Mexico. Puerto Morelos, if you don't know where it's at, is just 15 minutes south of the Cancun airport. And we specialize in real estate sales, vacation rentals, and we also do property management and condominium association management. I'm federally certified with 2 different certifications, one to sell real estate in Mexico, the other to sell it in its tourist zones. I am state licensed by the state of Quintana Roo, our state here, and I'm members of both the MRP, which is the Mexican Association of Realtors, as well as an international member of NAR, which is the U.S. Association of Realtors. So that just kind of gives you a brief intro into my background, and we actually had some homeowners that asked about their electricity bills and how it worked. So I thought I'd make a video and share it with everyone, so that way if you have the same questions, if they do, I'm assuming other people do. So I'll walk through it with you how it works, and hopefully it'll clear up any questions that you have. The first thing I want to do is jump into CFE's website. So if you go to cfe.gov, which is gov.mx, it will take you to this page, cfe.gov.mx, and it will bring you to their homepage. And what you want to do, there's a lot of information you can get here. You can register with a name and password and be able to download your bills online. But what we want to focus on today is your tariffs. So if you go into tarifas, which is your charges, okay? So we're going to go to tarifas. And the first thing I want to explain is basically how the charges from the company work. And then after I've explained that, we'll take a look at a couple bills so you see how that translates to your bill. So here we are on their tarifas page. And we're going to go and look at, they have 3 different types of contracts. They have home, which would be hogar. That's a residential. They have negocio, which would be for businesses or commercial use. And then they have industria, which would be industrial contracts. So obviously we're going to go to the residential hogar and take a look at those tariffs. Now, depending what part of Mexico you are in, you will have a different tariff depending on your region. And the tariffs are here, 1, 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, and 1F. I'll show you in a minute how you can tell which tariff you are in by looking at your bill. But for now, know that at least in Puerto Morelos, we're in 1D. Okay, so we're going to go over, I'm going to show you how it works for 1D. Obviously, you can look up your own tariff rate if you're in a different tariff. But for 1D, I'll show you how it works. The other thing that we're going to be looking at is this DAC, which is often called DAC. Okay, and so I'll explain how that works in a moment. But we are in 1D here in our region. So I'm going to go to 1D. And you're able to consult tariffs from 2020, our current year, and a few years behind. I'm just interested in 2020. The other thing that it asks is what month does the summer rates start in your area? And here in Puerto Morelos, our summer rates start April 1st and go through September 30th. Now, what are summer rates? Summer rates, CFE in some zones that are very hot, give their clients a discount in the summer because there's a high use of electricity or high demand for electricity because of the need for air conditioning. So you actually get a reduced electrical rate in summer months. We have that reduced rate, and our summer rates start in April. So I'm going to select Abril for April. And now we're going to look at the rates that are non-summer rates, and then take a look at summer rates. So the very first month that we're going to look at, I'm just going to pick January. Obviously, that will be a non-summer rate, a standard rate. And here are the rates. This says this 2.2 is season outside of summer. Okay, so I've selected a month that doesn't fall within those special summer rates. When you are in any of those months, they have three different stages of charges. The idea behind this is that people who use very little energy, perhaps lower income people that maybe just have a small refrigerator or a few light bulbs that aren't consuming much energy, pay very, very little. And the more you use, the more you pay, essentially. So they have consumo means consumption. So basic consumption. The basic consumption rate is 0.831 pesos per kilowatt hour for the first 75 kilowatt hours. Okay. And then they have an intermediate consumption, consumo intermedio. And that is basically a peso 0.006 for each hour for the next 125 kilowatt hours, okay? And then they have consumption excedente. This is the extra consumption on top of that. And the extra consumption that goes over these two would be 2.941 pesos per kilowatt hour, okay? In our 1D tariff rate, they also have a monthly minimum. So even if your property is completely turned off, but you have a meter going, you would be charged the equivalent of 25 kilowatt hours. And the 25 kilowatt hours would obviously fall in this first category here. So the very first kilowatt hours that you use for the month are charged at this rate, then this rate, and then this rate. Okay, so let's take a look. If I happen to change to a summer month, let's pick June, that's in the summer rates. Okay, and you'll notice that now I have, instead of 3, I have 4 categories of charging. Okay, I still have my básico, which is a little bit less, 0.745, but I get it for the first 175 kilowatt hours rather than, I think it was 80 something previously. Then I have intermediate consumption low, intermediate consumption high, and then the part of consumption that exceeds those rates. So my internet consumption low is 0.87 pesos for the next 225 kilowatt hours. Then I have intermediate consumption high, which is 1.116 pesos for the next 200 kilowatt hours beyond that. And then my consumption, my excess consumption, is charged at 2.976 per kilowatt hour. And again, I have a 25 kilowatt hour minimum. Okay, so your first 175 are charged at this rate, the next 225 are charged at that rate, the next 200 are charged at this rate, and anything beyond that would be charged at this rate. Again, this is lower in the summer, which allows you to consume more energy. They know you're going to be using air conditioning. Okay, so that's how it should shake out on your bill, unless you consume a lot of power. If you consume a lot of power, you are in that first, back on that first page, you are in what they call DAC, which is Domésticas de Alto Consumo. Domésticas de Alto Consumo means that you are in a high consumption household. If you are in a high consumption household, you do pay quite a bit. So let's take a look at that. Finding that page. Again, you can consult the tariffs from years past. I'm keeping it in 2020. And let's look at what they consider high consumption, okay? In my tariff area, they consider high consumption for 1D 1,000 kilowatt hours per month. So if I exceed 1,000 kilowatt hours per month, I am in what they consider high consumption. Now, let me back up and qualify that a little bit more. It's 1,000 kilowatt hours per month on average, all right? and it's an average of the previous 12 months. So it's sort of this continually rolling average, and it talks about that right here, okay? So basically this says that the monthly consumption, the average monthly consumption that's registered for a user deals with a rolling average that's calculated over the last 12 months. So if you take a look at the last 12 months of my electrical meter consumption, if on average I'm more than 1,000 kilowatt hours per month, I am now considered a high consumption home, and I am charged very differently, okay? So let me take a look at what that would be. You can see that, got to scroll down here. Here we go. You can see that it's by region, okay? And so right here, we are in, Puerto Morelos happens to be in the South or Peninsular region. We are charged a flat rate of 108.11 pesos per month of a flat charge. So you'll always have that charge, plus a peso rate per kilowatt hour consumed. So you no longer get that staggered rate, you get a flat charge. You get a charge of 108.11 pesos plus a flat charge of 4.158 pesos per kilowatt hour from kilowatt hour 0 through however many you use. If your rolling average exceeds 1,000 kilowatt hours per month over a 12-month period. And they will help you take a look at that or help you guard against that on your bill, which we'll see in a moment, okay? So what does a bill look like and how do we read it? Knowing what we know now, let's take a look at an actual bill. Obviously, to protect the privacy of some of our clients, I've swiped some of their bills. I've changed their addresses and we've changed their names. So while I'd love to say that Elvis lives, he does not, but we do happen to have his electrical bill here. What you'll see when you see your CFE bill, okay? First, it'll be your name and your address. Let me just tell you, if you don't have your electrical bill in your name, that's a really good thing to do. There are so many things in Mexico that require that you have what they call a comprobante de domicilio, which is a proof of address, and they will require a utility bill, either a water bill or an electric bill. So go ahead and get your electric bills into your name. It's a very good thing to do. It also makes it much easier if you ever have a problem and you need to report it and you need to show any kind of ID, your name is not going to match your contract. So make sure that your electrical bill is in your name. Okay, the very first thing up here on the top right is how much you need to pay for this bill. This particular person, Elvis, owes 369 pesos for this electrical bill. This is the service number for the contract and the RMU. These are two internal numbers that CFE uses to help you identify your account, okay? And so when you call in, it's very helpful to have a copy of your bill. Again, you saw you could register online and get those online. It's very helpful to have those because if you ever call, they're going to need those numbers. This will tell you the dates of the bill. Now, in our area at least, and with our meters, some meters actually bill monthly, some meters bill bi-monthly. This happens to be a bi-monthly meter. So the period of the billing cycle is the 14th of October 2019 until the 11th of December 2019. So it's a 2-month period. Here's where you know what rate you're in. In our area, as I mentioned, we are 1D, all right? If it shows a different rate, then you know to go to that page that I just showed you and look up your rates in your area. This is your meter number. This meter number should coincide with the meter, the number that reads on the front of your meter as an ID number. This is a multiplier. This really doesn't come into play in residential bills, but it's there nonetheless. This is your limit to pay. This bill, which went through the 11th of December 2019, you had until 28th of December 2019 to pay. And if you did not pay, it says court day. They're going to cut power as of the 29th of December. They cut it pretty quickly. You need to make sure you pay your bills on time. Okay, let's scroll down to the next part of the bill. The next part of the bill shows the basic, the consumo básico, the consumo intermedio, and then what that sums to. In this particular bill, she didn't get to the point where she had the, she used within these first two categories. Had she have used anything that exceeded the intermedio, you would see another line here that would say consumo excedente, right? But in this case, she only used consumed within the first two categories. So here's her meter reading. Her meter reading anterior, which means before, the meter reading before was 26,814. The actual meter reading was 27,145. You'll notice that sometimes, usually they take a physical reading on the meter. If they don't, they will label it estimada, which means it was estimated, and they'll indicate that either with an EST or a check mark here. So if you have a question about your reading and it was an estimated reading, you can call them out and request an actual reading. But these two happen to be actual readings. So if you take obviously 27,145 and you subtract it from 26,814, that will tell you how many kilowatt hours you have used during this billing period. She happened to use 331. Okay, so the first 150 were billed at the basic rate, and that totaled that. Intermediate were up to another 181, so it was at a peso, and it was this, and that sums to 331 and 304.90. So basically, her bill becomes 304.90. If you want to take a look at how this shakes out down here, you can. Here's something important to know. When you have an electric bill and you are not in DAC, many of the fees and charges that they have are, you receive a government subsidy to help pay. So if you'll take a look at this, this talks about how it breaks out into all the different things that would have been charged, but she received apoyo gubernamental. That's a government subsidy of 496.49 pesos. That means that all that was left to pay was her consumption. There's all sorts of charges here for different things that you can see. You don't get those charges unless you're in high consumption. They subsidize that part for you. So, and you can see that the rates are a little bit different. So you can see that the government subsidy can significantly reduce your electric bill as well, which is why when you go to DAC, not only are you smacked with a higher, basically double or even triple or even quadruple in some cases rate, depending on how much you would be charged, from the basic consumption, it's about 4 times the amount, but you also lose the government subsidy. So DAC bills can be significantly higher than typical bills. So at any rate, after the government subsidy on the fees, she pays 304.90 pesos. There's IVA applied to that bill. That brings it up to 353.68. DAP, that is a charge. It is called, and it's a little bit further down the bill, Derecho al Alumbrado Público. It is just a fee that's on your bill, okay? That is charged. This was her previous amount owed. This was her previous amount owed, and this was her previous payment. So she had made her payment. She owed nothing. So total to pay, okay, which is also what you see up at the top. And if you notice, they kind of round off. They don't collect the centavos. So her total ended up being 369.72 pesos is what she owed, okay? That's how the front of that bill works. Toward the bottom, there's also a space here with a barcode and a QR code. Those help you read in the kiosks or at the different places where you can pay your bill. If you ever have any questions about your CFE bill, it always shows you. You can dial 071 from any Mexican phone, and it will dial directly into CFE. They're very, very good. If you call them about walking you through your bill, if you do have any questions, they are very helpful. Okay. Second page of the bill. Second page of the bill is helpful for you to understand how that month compares with previous months. It gives you not only a chart, okay, but it also gives you the actual readings. So you'll notice, if you remember, the DAC limit is 1,000 on average over the previous 12 months. You can see most months are under that visually. This is why she is not in a DAC rate. There's been a few months that have exceeded for sure, but on average she's been under, and so she remains in the normal rates. And here you can see the actual kilowatt hours from each reading. Now, remember, when you look at these, you are looking at a 2-month period, okay? So also here, remember, you're looking at a 2-month period. So you have to divide these by 2. And it is per month. It's over a 12-month period. So basically, look at your last 6, if that makes sense, okay? Remember, it's a 12-month period. They're 2-month billing cycles. So we're looking at the last 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 billing cycles to determine whether or not we're in a DAC rate. Again, the last 6 to determine if we're edging toward a DAC rate. This will help you understand why you are, or this will help warn you if you're close, okay? To wrap up, let's take a look at a DAC receipt, okay? So this particular bill is in DAC, the high consumption. The bill looks exactly the same, so I don't want to go through everything. I just want to make a note of this. Notice that this was her old reading. This is her new reading, which left her, meaning that between April 22nd and June 20th of 2019, she consumed 2,949 kilowatt hours. That per month is obviously over the limit of 1,000 per month. It needs to be 2,000 or under. So if she had done this for a consecutive number of months, she would be in DAC, and she is. If you look at the tariff over here, it says DAC. That means that over the last 12 months, she has consumed on average above 1,000 kilowatt hours per month. Let me just be clear one more time. Remember, these bills are for 2 months. So you're looking at the last 6 billing cycles, okay, when you're looking at this. But she got the flat rate charge, and she got her flat rate fee of 4.564, which ended up being this subtotal, okay? Now, when I scroll down to the bottom, notice that you don't have the government subsidy anymore. So you not only have your per month charge, your electrical charges, but you also have all the fees that are involved, which bring it up to a total of 13,673 pesos plus IVA would be the subtotal plus the DAP. And this was her previous balance. So see, she had a much higher month this year or this month than the previous month. So this is what she needs to pay. All right, well, how did she get here? Over the last 6 months, she would have had to have average of over 1,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Over these last 6 billing cycles, you can see she well exceeds that 1,000 threshold. This is how she got there. If you're worried and you want to take a look at these. Again, remember, these are for 2-month billing cycles, and it's 1,000 per month. So here she's actually a little under, but here she's way over. Here she's a little under, here she's way under, here she's way over. So when you average those out, it works out to more than 1,000 per month. Now, what can she do to change this? She needs to drop her usage so that it will affect the 12-month rolling average and bring it below the threshold. Okay, so that's what you need to do to get yourself out of DAC. I hope this has helped you read your electrical bills. If you have any questions at all, you're welcome to contact us. Our contact information is there. There is our website, our phone number, both US and Mexico, and our email. If you need help paying your electrical bills and you're here in Puerto Morelos, we do property management and we do bill payment for people. We'd be happy to help you. But at the end of the day, I hope that's helped you understand your electric bill and also help you understand how you can avoid those high DAC charges. Thanks so much. And if you want to check out our YouTube channel, MR Properties, we have all sorts of webinars that go through all sorts of information for homeowners, similar to this one that you might find helpful. So have a great day.